I say ready to proceed, solicitor.
We're ready.
Defendant's ready. Let the record reflect Mr. Moorer is present. Let's bring in our jury, please. Thank you so much. Derek, you'll mention to them and talk to me about some problems. If it continues, my next step. That's what Sam made.
Just go back. Go ahead and mark these so you get out there. I'll try to give you this is the last one. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Hope you had a good lunch. We're ready now to continue. Lester, you may call your next witness. Thank you, Your Honor. We're going to call Jill Domagala.
Okay.
And if you don't mind, Judge, I'm going to let this lady finish numbering.
That's fine. Go right ahead. No problem. Yes, go ahead and swear.
Please raise your right hand. Place your left hand on the Bible. You solemnly swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give the court in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God do?
I know that's what I was hoping. That's okay.
Thank you.
Your Honor, you ready, sir?
Yes.
You may go ahead and state your name and spell it last.
My name is Jolie Domagauer, Domogauer.
Jill, if you don't mind, where are you currently employed?
I'm currently employed at the Horry County Police Department.
And how long have you been employed there?
I've been employed with Horry County since June of 2008.
And what's your responsibilities?
I currently am in the crime scene division as a crime scene investigator.
Okay, and what were your responsibilities in December of 2013?
I was a crime scene investigator with the Horry County Police Department.
Okay, and have you been a crime scene investigator consistently since December 2013 to now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and did you have an occasion to assist in the case that we're here today for against Sidney Moorer?
Yes, we were called in, a crime scene division was called in to assist.
Okay, and if you don't mind, tell this jury the first thing you did to assist in this case.
The first time I assisted in this case was December 20th, 2013. Myself and my lieutenant responded to 105 Sly Fox Trail in Myrtle Beach.
And you responded there for what reason?
To look at a vehicle.
Okay, and if you don't mind, look through these pictures and tell me if you recognize these pictures. And I'm showing you states Exhibit 10 through 24.
Mr. Denny, do you have any objection to any of these photographs?
No, sir.
Very well. They're 10 through 24, they're admitted without objection. So you can go ahead and proceed.
And if you don't mind, Ms. Stelmagauer, tell this jury and the court what those are pictures of.
These pictures are the pictures that were taken that day when myself and Lieutenant Socastee responded to that residence to look at a vehicle.
Okay, and so those are pictures of the vehicle from Peachtree Landing.
Yes.
Okay, and are they accurate of how the vehicle appeared that day?
That day we were there, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and did you see any damage to the vehicle at all?
And nothing other than, your typical scratches and things like that.
Anything that would make the car inoperable?
Oh, no.
Okay, were any of the tires flat?
No, ma'am.
Okay, were any of the windows knocked out?
It didn't appear, no, ma'am.
Okay, and how about on the inside? Any major damage on the inside?
Not that I could see, no, ma'am.
Okay, so those pictures indicate how the car appeared that day when you saw it.
Yes, ma'am.
And what was that date that you took the pictures?
December 20th, 2013.
Okay, and are they an accurate depiction?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you were out there for all those photos taken?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time the state wishes to put 10 through 24 into evidence and publish them to the jury.
They publish them, they've already been admitted without objection.
And we're going to do it on the screen so everybody can see it at once, Judge. Dim the lights just a little bit.
Give them the lights.
Ms. Stelmagauer, which, if you don't mind, you're looking at now 24. Can you see the screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. If you don't mind, tell this jury which vehicle you were taking pictures of.
The Dodge closest to the residence.
Okay. And whose house is the car at in this picture?
I believe that's Terry Elvis's residence.
Okay. And is that the victim's dad?
Yes.
Okay. And if you don't mind, take a look at that next picture and tell me what we're looking at.
This is going to be State's Exhibit number 23. This is the rear end of the vehicle that we were called to look at, the Dodge and Trevitt with the South Carolina plate.
Okay. And on this picture, did you note any damage or anything on the car unusual?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to show you now state's evidence number 22, the next picture. Tell me, how about this side of the vehicle? Did you note any damage or flat tire, anything to the vehicle?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And were any of the windows knocked out?
No, ma'am. That was State Exhibit 22.
Okay. And I'm going to show you now state's evidence 21. Tell the jury.
Need to step out. Beautiful. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Tell this jury what they're looking at.
That's a rear angle shot of the driver's side of the vehicle parked in the driveway.
And was there any damage to that
No
side of the vehicle?
No damage noted.
Okay. Were either of the tires flat on that side of the vehicle?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm showing you now state's evidence number 20. If you don't mind, tell this jury what they're looking at.
That's going to be another angle side driver view.
And any damage to the windshield or any other part of the vehicle?
There was no fresh damage, no.
Okay. I'm going to show you the next picture, state's evidence 19. Tell me what we're looking at.
The hood and passenger side front fender.
And did you see any damage to the headlights or the front of the vehicle?
No, ma'am.
I'm showing you now state's evidence number 18. Tell this jury what they're looking at.
That's an inside shot of the driver's side area of that vehicle.
Okay. And is that how it appeared when you saw it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I'm showing you state's evidence 17. What are we looking at?
That's the header above the seats in the front of the driver's side and passenger side. Also showing the rear view mirror.
Okay. And I'm showing you now state's evidence number 16. Tell me what we're looking at.
We turned the car on, and that's just the gauges on the dashboard showing mileage.
Okay. And did anything on the inside look damaged at all?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And I'm showing you now state's evidence 15. What are we looking at?
That's going to be a part of the passenger seat and floorboard, cup holders, gear shifter, and little compartments.
Okay. Now I'm showing you state's evidence 14.
Interior shot of the passenger front seat.
Okay. And when you saw the vehicle like this, did you have any concerns that the vehicle had been broken into?
No.
Okay. And how about state's evidence 13?
This is going to be a picture of the rear seats of the vehicle.
And that's the way it appeared when you saw it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how about state's evidence 12?
It's the same thing, only from the passenger side view of those two rear seats in the back.
Okay. And that's the way the back seat appeared when you saw it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Showing you now state's evidence number 11. What are we looking at?
The trunk of the vehicle.
Okay. And that's how it appeared when you saw it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is how the car appeared just as soon as you showed up to take photographs?
When we were there, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you personally had not touched or moved anything in the vehicle. That's the way it appeared?
Yes, ma'am. No, I didn't touch anything.
Okay. And I'm showing you now state's evidence number 10. What are these items?
Items located in the vehicle, some bearing the name of Heather Rachel Elvis, a bank card, and also the vehicle's registration bearing the name of Terry Elvis.
Okay, and was this documentation found inside the car?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Okay, and it's hard for me to see from here. Is that her Social Security card?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is that her Wells Fargo check card?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and is that the registration to that Dodge Intrepid?
Intrepid, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and is that her cosmetology license in there?
Yes, ma'am.
And all those items were found inside that vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, after you reviewed everything in the car, after you looked at everything in the car, was there any evidence that anybody had broken into the car?
And no evidence of any kind of forced entry was observed in the vehicle.
Okay. Did you see any blood in the car?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you see a weapon in the car?
No, I did not.
Did you see any illegal drugs in the car?
No, I did not.
Okay. Now, after you photographed her car, what did you do next to assist in this investigation?
I was advised to respond to the Peachtree Landing, to take overall photographs and do a search of the immediate area around the landing.
Okay, so then you went from her car to Peachtree Landing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you find a cell phone in her car?
No, ma'am.
Did you find any car keys in her car?
No, ma'am.
Okay. When you went to the landing, did you find a phone at the landing?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you find a set of car keys at the landing?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Okay. Did you find any broken glass or weapon?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Okay. Did you find any illegal drugs at the landing?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Okay. And if you don't mind, exactly what area did you look around at the landing?
I looked at the, of course, the immediate asphalt ramp area. I walked into the water until about maybe ankle or calf deep, and then I didn't go any further because the ramp kind of drops off. I covered the asphalt area, and there's like a wood curtilage around. I walked into that area. It's kind of swampy. It was low tide, so I was able to walk out a little bit until it got to be about calf deep, and then I couldn't judge the distance between the water or anything in that kind of like marsh area, and I was pulled back by my lieutenant, told that would be searched in a different fashion.
Okay. When you walked out into, and when you're talking about the marsh and swamp, you're talking about that area when you come into Peachtree Landing to the right?
If you're facing the water, it's
Yeah.
to the right.
Okay. Did you find a cell phone in there?
No, ma'am.
Did you find a set of keys in there?
No, ma'am.
Did you find anything like that anywhere near that landing?
No, ma'am.
Did you find any clothing anywhere around the landing?
No, ma'am.
Did you see or find any illegal drugs around the landing?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you see any sign of the victim, Heather Elvis, around that landing?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, after you left the landing, where did you go next to assist in this particular investigation?
But we were still all at the landing. The fire department was bringing divers. I think DNR was coming. At that time, my lieutenant advised me that he pulled me from that area, and I needed to respond to the victim's apartment off of River Oaks Drive.
Okay. And I'm going to show you some pictures. Will you go through these pictures and let us know if this is an accurate depiction of her apartment when you were there to take these pictures?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you don't mind, just tell this lady here what exhibit number and whether or not that's accurate.
For every one, or you want me to do a totality, one through? Or?
You see anything?
Yes, sir.
Any objection?
No objection.
They all admitted, so let's go ahead and go through them. They're admitted without objection.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We'll expedite. Thank you.
I'm looking at States Exhibit 26 through 46.
All right, 26 and 46 are admitted without objection. Okay. Okay.
Ms. Domagao, it's okay, they're already in evidence. I'm going to show them to the jury. But before I do, when you showed up to her apartment, did you just...
The door was secured and locked. I mean, I don't know if it was locked, but the door was shut.
Okay. And were you able to open the door without a key?
The door was open.
Okay. Now, before we go through these pictures, I'm going to ask you, when you went in her apartment, did you look in every room in that apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you find a cell phone in her apartment?
No, ma'am.
Did you find a set of car keys for her Dodge in the apartment?
No, ma'am.
Did you find any illegal drugs in her apartment?
No, ma'am.
Okay. If you don't mind, we're going to show these pictures, and as we go through the pictures, tell this jury what we're looking at.
Okay.
What are we looking at here?
This is the front of the apartment building complex.
Excuse me, could you reference the exhibit number?
They're going to be labeled backwards. This can be number, State's Exhibit 46.
Thank you.
Thank you, I'm sorry, sir.
And can we take a look at the next picture, please?
Technical difficulties, it's on here, it's not there.
Ms. Stromgard, while they're getting that straight, where is this apartment complex located?
Off of River Oaks Drive.
I'm sorry, over here said it's right there.
It's off of River Oaks Drive.
Okay, and was this a one-building apartment complex, or were there several buildings out there?
I don't know how many buildings there are per se, but it's one of those complexes like on the golf course. There's several buildings with several apartments.
Okay, and was it near a golf course?
Yes.
Okay, and do you remember the name of that golf course?
No, I would have to actually look it up.
Okay, so this was just several buildings around a golf course?
Yeah, it's got a name.
Okay. Okay. Now, what are we looking at here?
It's going to be the, I believe the front door, State's Exhibit number 45.
And that's her apartment front door?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now we're going to see a couple more pictures, but right off the outset, did you see any damage to her front door?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Okay, and did it appear anybody had tried to break into the front door?
There was no signs of forced entry into the apartment.
Okay,
It's the State's Exhibit number 44, or that was.
okay. It's okay. And what are we looking at in this picture?
State's Exhibit number 43. This is me. The exterior door has been open. You can see it in the background, and I just take my first shot down the hallway of the apartment.
Okay, and what is that, before we go to the next picture, this is the front door. What is that door to the right?
Things like a laundry room or closet area.
Okay, and then this is just a hallway to go into the apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
State's Exhibit number 42. That's what's behind that door that you just saw to the right in the hallway.
Okay, and is that how it appeared when you saw it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's just that door to the right when you come right into the apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and if you don't mind, tell us what state's evidence number 41 is.
Me proceeding past that closet door, going down the hallway into the apartment. A little bit more of the apartment can be seen.
Okay, and what room is that right to the right?
The kitchen.
I'm sorry?
The kitchen.
Okay, and then when you go straight in, what area is that?
You have your living room area, and then you have to the left where the vacuum is a corridor where there's a bathroom, a linen closet, and a bedroom. Beyond that pink chair, there's a doorway for another bedroom.
Okay, now those blinds, when we're looking at this picture, all the way at the other end, what's behind those? A window, a door?
It's a sliding glass door that opens up into behind the apartment complexes, which I believe is like a lake or a golf course kind of environment.
Okay, and was that door broken or damaged?
No, the door was in the locked position. It was closed.
Okay. Can we see the next picture, please? State's evidence number 40.
That's
And what are we looking at here?
the kitchen.
Okay, and is that the way it appeared when you showed up?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there anything broken or disheveled in the kitchen?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and what, do you know what kind of bag that is sitting right there on the counter?
If I recall correctly, I believe it was McDonald's or some fast food establishment.
Okay. And nothing was out of order or broken in the kitchen?
No, ma'am.
Okay, if you don't mind, let's look at state's evidence number, what number is that?
39.
Okay. What room are we looking at here?
Beyond the kitchen is the laundry room. I apologize. You can see the open dryer and washer is a double stack unit. straight through the kitchen.
Okay, so that's the refrigerator in the kitchen?
Yes,
And then when
ma'am.
you go past that, it's the laundry room?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there anything damaged or out of place in the laundry room?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and if you don't mind, let's see the next picture, State's Evidence 32. What are we looking at here?
The living room, dining room area.
Okay, and if you don't mind, can you tell what's on that table from here?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it?
You have a bag, speakers, a tilted kilt skirt, a gray top, and other articles of clothing. Makeup bag.
Okay, and what is that black thing sitting in the chair?
Like a bottom, like a skirt type of thing.
In the black thing in the chair?
You have a bag and a article of clothing.
Okay, did you look in the bag?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And if you don't mind, tell this jury what was in the bag.
It appeared items, the bag was identified to be Heather Elvis's, items of her work uniform parts, toiletry items, deodorant, toothbrush, hairbrushes, lotions, makeup, items of such.
Now, the tilted kilt skirt and outfit on the table, was that in the bag or on the table?
I recall that was on the table or in the bag. There are items in the bag with the tilted kilt, as if like you're getting your bag and you're getting ready for work. You obviously don't walk out of your house dressed like that. Maybe it was a work bag or something like that.
Okay. So it appeared to be her work bag.
That's what I would guess, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what's in picture evidence 37?
That's just an overall shot of the living room area.
Okay. And if you don't mind, can you see what's on that table?
You have a bowl, box of tissues, a case for a cell phone, McDonald's cup, papers.
Okay. Now, did you ever see a cell phone anywhere in the apartment?
No, the case is empty. I didn't find the phone.
Okay. Can we see State's Evidence number 36? And what is this a picture of?
It's just a more close-up picture of that couch area and the contents on the table.
Okay. And is this the way it appeared when you found it?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is that balled up on the couch?
The blanket,
Okay, a blanket, and then that white thing on the table is what?
the tissues.
Okay. Any sign of a struggle in this apartment that you've seen?
No outward signs of struggle, no, ma'am.
Did you see, up to this point, any broken glass or blood?
No, ma'am.
If you don't mind, let's see State's Evidence 35. What are we looking at here?
Right across from the couch area, you have, I would call it, or maybe other women will call it like a vanity type of area. You have a mirror and a countertop area.
So that area is actually like in the den area.
In the living room area, yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And is that a mirror behind those bottles?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and is that the den reflected in the mirror with that lamp?
The couch that we just saw, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what are those things on the counter along with the bottles?
Makeup and hair curling iron.
Like a curling iron?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's how it appeared when you got there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now what are we looking at here?
Beyond the vanity, closer to the sliding glass door, you have your back bedroom. That's me opening the door to the back bedroom.
Now that suitcase, that purple suitcase has a little piece of tape on it. Do you know what was written on that tape?
Heather.
Okay. So that purple case and the tape and written on it is Heather.
Is the name Heather, yes.
Okay. And is that the way that room appeared when you saw it?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is this a picture of?
It's going to be State's Exhibit number 33. It's just a different angle of the same room.
Okay, and is that same suitcase we were looking at?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you see any other suitcases in the apartment?
No, ma'am, other than the bags and stuff in this particular room.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Did you open this suitcase up, or is this the way it was when you saw it?
That is how it was seen.
Okay, so the door, the flap on it was open, nothing was packed up?
Nothing was touched yet. This is an overall picture before anything is checked or looked through.
Okay. Did you find anywhere in that apartment a suitcase that was packed up?
Not that I recall, no, ma'am, I don't believe I did.
Okay. And this is the way the room looked as soon as you walked in it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And can we get a picture of State's Evidence 31,
This is 32.
32?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is this a picture of?
Golf clubs and a TV in that back bedroom.
Okay. And what are we looking at here?
This would be 31. This is a different angle of that same bedroom, showing the bed, the nightstand, a computer printer,
And what's on the nightstand? It's hard to see from here.
red Solo cups, and a dirty plate.
Okay. What are we looking at here?
This would be the master bathroom that's associated with this room. This room in the back had a master bathroom attached to it. This is that bathroom.
So this bathroom is in that bedroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what is that on the counter in the bathroom?
You have a toothbrush, personal hygiene products, and a pizza.
Okay. And how about State's Evidence, the next picture, number 30, I believe? What are we looking at here?
This is, as you recall in the overall pictures, that one cutout where you had the vacuum. This is now that hallway.
Okay. And when you open that door, is that a bedroom?
The door that we are looking at, yes, that straight into is a bedroom. The other door is like to a linen closet. I'm actually standing in that hallway's bathroom taking this photograph.
Okay. And what are we looking at here?
State's exhibit number 28,
And what's this a picture of?
the hallway bathroom.
Okay, and what's on the floor?
Some dirty towels,
Okay, and what's on the counter?
hygiene products, toothbrushes, a brush.
Okay. And how about the next picture? What are we looking at here?
This is item number 27, or State's exhibit 27. This is the front bedroom, as identified to me as Bree, I believe the name was.
And did you, through your investigation, did you know who this bedroom belonged to?
I was advised by investigators this was Bree's bedroom.
Okay. And that's her roommate?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what was in her room? General?
General stuff that you would have in a bedroom, I think, a computer, her bed, clothing, personal effects.
Okay. And did you find any keys or cell phone in that bedroom?
No, ma'am.
Did you find any suitcases packed up in that bedroom?
There might have been some bags. I don't know if they were packed or, no, ma'am.
But no.
So there might have been some bags. I don't
Okay.
recall any of them being packed. There was a bag right there by the bed. It's closed, so.
Okay. And was this door locked?
Yes, ma'am, I believe it was locked.
Okay. And so you guys went in because you had a search warrant and went into this bedroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how about the next picture? What are we looking at here?
It's the front bedroom again, just a different angle, overall angle.
Okay. And is that the way the bedroom looked when you broke into it? Not broke into it, but went into it?
Yes, ma'am.
Can we see the next picture? And is that a copy of your search warrant?
Yes, ma'am, I leave a copy of the search warrant at the residence after I left.
Okay, and that's the search warrant you executed when you searched the entire residence?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When you were in that residence, anywhere, did you see anything to you that led you to believe somebody was not coming back to that residence?
No, ma'am.
I'm sorry?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you see any bags packed up?
I saw several bags that were packed and open. trash bags and things like that.
Okay. Now, after you left her house, what did you do next to assist in the investigation?
I believe I responded to some search areas of interest that my lieutenant advised me to respond to.
Okay. So you responded to certain areas to search that area for the victim?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When you did that, did you ever locate a cell phone or car keys?
No, ma'am.
Did you ever locate any sign of the victim?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And after you did that, what did you finally do to assist in this investigation?
We were called for several areas of searching, in which we did and proceeded through. I eventually was called to assist a search team in reference to the defendant's residence.
Okay. And did you go to the defendant's residence on February 21st of 2013?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And what did you do to assist on that day?
On that day, there was several agents from various different law enforcement divisions, and everybody was broken down into teams, and I was on a team that was assisting into Sidney's residence, and there was another team that was to the Cason's residence.
Okay. And so as people marked items, you picked them up and put them in evidence?
Yes, I didn't participate in any of the searching. They had a separate searching team that did searching and looking through things, and they would tag it with a Post-it note. Items would be photographed and then packaged and eventually moved out.
Okay. And those items are put into evidence at Horry County PD?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And are they kept in a way they cannot be tampered with?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Behind the locked door?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you bring several items with you today out of evidence?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. I'm going to get those marked. Jill, I think I asked you earlier, but I can't remember. What was the victim's residence? What was her street address?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let me reflect to my notes if I can. I responded to 541 Apartment C, White River Drive in Myrtle Beach. Is off of River Oaks Drive.
Okay. And if you don't mind, when you responded to the defendant's address, tell us what his address was.
8786 Highway 814.
Okay. And if you don't mind, tell this jury which landing you went to search.
It's known as the Old Peachtree Landing. If you go down Peachtree, you have two landings. One in the beginning, it depends on which way you turn onto Peachtree. But you have the one where there's an overpass, a very large park, and a very big landing. And then if you continue down Peachtree, it dead ends to the water, and that would be the smaller landing, secluded landing, and that's the landing I responded to.
Okay. So just so I'm clear, do you pass the big Peachtree landing on your way to the old landing?
It depends which route you take, but yes, ma'am.
Okay. If you take Peachtree Road, do you pass that other landing?
It's on the Peachtree.
Okay. And let me ask you this. Is it labeled Peachtree Landing down there? Is there any sign to indicate what landing that is? Do you remember?
I'm not quite sure.
Okay. Now, Those two are there are the surveillance from April 10. Jill, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 48. If you don't mind, tell this jury what's in there.
It's a cell phone.
Okay, and do you know who the cell phone belongs to?
It's labeled Sidney's room, and I believe they later identified it to be Sidney's cell phone.
Okay. So that's indicated that it's Sidney Moore's phone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, this time the state wishes to move State's Exhibit 48 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, well, no objection.
Without objection, State 48 is accepted.
Okay. And if you don't mind, I'm showing you State's Exhibit 49. What is that?
It's a copy of surveillance video that was turned into the evidence department.
Okay. And was that kept in evidence
Yes, ma'am, it was.
in a way that it has not been tampered with in any form or fashion?
It was turned in and checked in on December 30th, 2013. Ms. Donna Bell's signatures on it.
Okay. And do you know that this came from DNS SiteWorks?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, this time the state wishes to put 49 into evidence.
Just for the record, to be straight, I'm going to object because I don't know what the chain of custody is. If she's saying she went and got it out of evidence, I don't know who brought it and brought it to evidence. She did not seize the property. So I object.
Not admitted at this point. It's been identified. It's a surveillance video.
State's Exhibit 47, do you know what that is?
It's a sync modular from a 2013 Ford F-150.
Okay. And do you know where that came from?
Yes, ma'am. It was removed by an employee of Comic Ford.
Objection, Your Honor. She's testifying for whoever removed it from the truck. She did not.
Sustained. He
Your Honor.
testified the hearsay. It had to be.
Were
She
you-
didn't remove it. Rephrase your question.
Thank you. Were you present to collect that sync module from the truck?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And did you see it come from the truck?
Yes, ma'am.
And what truck did it come from?
It came from a Ford F-150. Refer to my notes. I believe I have a truck identified as once belonging to the defendant.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, the state wishes to put 47 in evidence.
Any objection now?
Just objected whether or not she put it into evidence. She brought it to evidence.
Well, we're subject to objection. Stage 47 is admitted.
I'm going to ask you now, item state's evidence number 50. Do you know what this is?
It's item that was turned into evidence.
And where did it come from?
Center console from F-150.
Okay. And has it been tampered with in any form or fashion?
Not that I can tell them, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, this time the state wishes to put 50 into evidence.
Any objection?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I didn't-
Is what?
The notebook from the Ford 150.
No objection.
Without objection, center console 50 is admitted.
And I'm not going to pull these out, but do you recognize state's evidence number 51 and 52?
51's the first one?
You want me to bring it over here?
May I stand up, sir?
You may.
52 is a item of evidence of DVR that was turned into evidence.
Where did it come from?
That DVR came off of a residence off of 814.
Okay. And what is 51 again?
One to which one? That's 51.
Okay.
It's-
And what is this, a computer?
That is an HP Pavilion that was collected from the defendant's house.
Okay. And how about 52?
This is a DVR that was collected on a house on 814.
Okay. Your Honor, this time the state wishes to put 51 and 52 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Judge.
Without objection, 51, 52.
Mr. O'McGowan, was a surveillance system belonging to the defendant collected from his house?
Yes, it was.
Okay, and was it turned into evidence?
Yes, it was collected.
Okay, and when was it collected?
The day of the search warrant.
Okay, and that was February 21st?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that item state's evidence number 53?
Yes, ma'am, inside that box.
Okay. And has that been tampered with in any form or fashion?
Not that I'm aware of, no, ma'am.
Okay. And did you collect it that day, February 21st, from the defendant's house?
Yes, ma'am, it was collected that day.
Okay. Your Honor, this time the state wishes to put 53 in evidence.
Any objection?
Got an objection under Rule Evidence 403, and if we could approach the bench, Your Honor.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, what we don't have, you have to sign or, and that's simply to avoid you having to leave the courtroom. It's matters of law, and we may be able to accomplish it. If we can't, we'll have to excuse you. So just indulge us just a second. Take that. All right, it's been identified, properly identified. This is State's Exhibit 53 is for ID only at this point, with the option to revisit should that become necessary.
Just so I'm clear, the only surveillance stuff that was put into evidence was from the house on 814, CD from DNS SiteWorks, and a surveillance system from the defendant's house.
That I'm aware of, yes, ma'am.
Okay? And the only phone that we put into evidence is the phone belonging to Sidney Moorer.
And for the courtroom, yes, ma'am.
Okay? And the only sync module we put in is from the Ford truck that belonged to the defendant.
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing further from this witness, Your Honor.
Prosecutor.
You didn't say that item Exhibit 53, the home surveillance, was placed in evidence?
It's not.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
what we had a sidewalk for.
Okay. I thought that's what that question was. I
The
apologize.
six miles is 47.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Is the objection to 47?
No, sir.
All right, so 47 is without objection.
Officer Domagauer, you work in CSI, which is Crime Scene Investigations, correct?
Yes, sir.
So part of your job is to process scenes to determine whether you can identify and collect any forensic type evidence?
Yes, sir.
Would that include fingerprints?
Yes, sir.
Blood samples?
Yes, sir.
Touch DNA spots?
Yes, sir.
Hair fibers?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's just go to the apartment. You realize, do you understand that to have been Bree Warman's apartment that Heather was staying at?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In Bree Warman's apartment, did you, I guess I know the answer, but from everything we went through your testimonies, you found nothing of evidentiary value in terms of my client being guilty of kidnapping?
The only items that I took from that house was more of an identifying for Heather Elvis type, the last clothes that she was seen wearing, and possible samples, her toothbrush and her hair.
So did you do a forensic examination of the apartment to look for hair and semen or that type of stuff?
No, sir.
DNA?
No, sir.
Okay. So that apartment was not forensically examined?
Not by me, sir. No, sir.
Okay. In regards to Heather's vehicle, you aware or do you have knowledge that her vehicle was found at the landing, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that it was transported from the landing to where you took these pictures by Mr. Elvis?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you got there, you took these photographs of the vehicle,
Yes, sir.
correct? And then you requested to tow the vehicle in so you could process it forensically.
Yes, sir.
Why were you unable to do that at that time?
Mr. Elvis didn't allow us to tow the vehicle. He said we can do what we needed or could do in the driveway, and we did what we could do in the driveway to the best of our abilities.
Okay, so, but in terms of like what was done with my client's truck and the ALC, do you know what that is?
Yes, sir,
I'm
I
saying
do.
it right? Can you explain to the jury what that is?
I believe, I don't know if it was Blue Star or ALC, but you have, I believe what you're referring to is a luminescence to spray for blood or those type of chemicals. It's a forensic chemical that you use to spray on fabrics or walls or whatever to try to illuminate blood in a dark setting.
Okay. So at least to that level of forensic exam, you were not unable to do in the parking lot of the house?
No, sir, you can't do that outside during the daylight.
Okay. Now that was done with my client's truck. Do you recall that?
I believe it was done, yes, sir.
And to date, as we stand here today, there was no forensic evidence of value that's relevant to this case that was taken from his truck, correct?
That I'm aware of, sir. I didn't process or have any knowledge to the processing of the truck.
Okay, so you know of none.
I know of none.
That's all I've got, John.
Okay, read the rest.
No further questions for this
Thank
witness.
you. You may come down. You wish the witness to be excused.
Yes, sir.
Any
No
objection?
objection.
Thank you also for your
Thank you. Do I need to give these to her? Sorry. Caught on the microphone.
Thank you. Oh, your next witness, please.
Your Honor, at this time the state calls John Martin.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand, place your left hand on the Bible. You solemnly swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give the court in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your full name and spell your last name.
Jonathan Lee Martin, Martin.
And if you don't mind, Mr. Martin, tell this jury where you're employed
I'm employed with the Horry County Police Department.
and how long have you been employed there?
I'll be 10 years this coming October.
And what are your current responsibilities?
I am currently the sergeant over the Robbery Homicide Division.
Okay, and what was your responsibilities in December of 2013 at the
In
department?
December 2013, I was a detective in at the time it was called the Violent Crime Section, I believe.
Okay, and did you have an occasion to assist in the case that we're working on today?
I did.
We're here today for. And were you the lead investigator?
I was not.
Okay, and what did you do to assist?
I assisted with some search warrants reference to phone records. I did go to a residence and assist by searching. I believe it was an initial search of Miss Elvis's residence, and then just some additional, follow-up help.
Okay, and did you ever obtain Heather Elvis's phone records?
I did.
Okay, and do you have them with you today?
I did bring them, yes.
Okay, and is there anything on those records to authenticate that they are indeed her records from T-Mobile?
I did. I brought a letter from T-Mobile signed by Susan K. Johnson, who is an employee of their law enforcement relations team.
Okay, and what does that letter indicate?
It indicates that she, being a United States citizen over the age of 18, employed by T-Mobile USA, is a custodian of records and therefore qualified as a result of my position to make this declaration. My official title is Manager of Law Enforcement Relations. She goes on to describe that such records were made at or near the time of the occurrence of the matter set forth by or from information transmitted by a person with knowledge of those matters. Such records were kept in the course of a regular conducted business activity. The business activity made such records as a regular practice, and if such record is not original, such record is true and exact duplicate of the original. And then she goes on to certify that the foregoing is true and accurate in the best of her knowledge, and it is stamped by the Notary Public, New Jersey.
And is it on T-Mobile letterhead?
It is on T-Mobile letterhead, yes.
And who's it addressed to?
It is addressed to Detective Jonathan Martin.
Your Honor, at this time, the state wishes to admit the phone records with the affidavit.
No objection.
So we don't lose them here. Let me see.
I need to mark it, yes. No, John, as part of your investigation, did you review these records?
I did.
And did you review the numbers that last called or spoke with Heather Elvis?
I did.
Okay, and through your investigation, did you find out who those numbers belong to?
I did.
Can you come please? Thank you. I'm showing you State's Exhibit number 55. Tell this jury what that is.
You can see me.
Oh, no, don't show it yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. This,
Tell the court first what that is.
let's see. These are the records from the Heather Elvis phone records from T-Mobile, starting the 18th at 1:35 a.m. and continuing on till 3:41 a.m.
Okay, and do these records indicate all the phone calls to and from her phone on the early mornings of December 18th?
Could you mind if I compare them to the original
Go
records?
ahead.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, they do.
And so these indicate all the phone calls from 12/18?
They do.
Okay, and does it also indicate whether or not it's an incoming or outgoing call?
They do.
Okay, and does it indicate who her phone is calling and who the number is calling from?
They do indicate if it's incoming and the number that it was connected to.
Okay, and does it tell you how long that phone call lasted?
Yes, it does.
Okay, and through your investigation, did you learn who those numbers belong to?
I did.
Your Honor, at this time, the state wishes to use State's Exhibit 55 as demonstrative evidence, and have Mr. Martin step down and go through these numbers.
It's fine.
Thank you.
Page 55 is for the record, the blow-up, what's already been admitted to the state's 54 is a portion of that record.
Thank you.
But it's not admitted, it will not be admitted in addition to the...
Right, yes, sir, just
That's fine.
demonstrative.
That's not a problem. Thank you. Martin, I just asked you to keep your voice elevated, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
John, if you don't mind, tell this jury indicate which number belongs to Heather Elvis.
Heather Elvis is indicated by this 9978152, which is the first number here. As you can see, column A, that is the number for all of them, because this is her phone records. Had it been a different number, they would be different.
Okay. Now, if you don't mind, tell this jury how you know whether she's making the phone call or whether someone is calling her.
As you can see in column D, it indicates incoming, outgoing. That is the only thing that is marked here. Incoming would be a phone call to her. Outgoing would be a phone call that she was making to another person.
Okay? And if you don't mind, tell this jury the very first phone call she got the morning of 12/18.
At 1:35 a.m. on 12/18/2013, there was one incoming call that lasted for 4.83 minutes, so not almost 5 minutes, from an 843-444-2462.
Okay? And had you looked through all her phone records?
I had.
And did you see that number on her phone records before that night?
I had not found that phone number before that night,
Okay.
before that 1:35 a.m.
Okay. And if you don't mind, tell this jury, through your investigation, did you learn who that phone number belonged to?
I did.
And if you don't mind, tell them who that phone number belonged to.
That number came back to a Frontier Communications, which is a smaller phone company, and through a search I was able to find that it came to a payphone.
Okay, and do you know where that payphone was located?
Yes, it was the intersection of Seaboard Street and 10th Avenue in the Myrtle Beach section of Ward County.
Okay, and if you don't mind, can you indicate right on this side here, payphone?
Sure. Sorry for my handwriting.
Now, the very next phone call, is that a phone call that she made or that somebody made to her?
It's an outgoing call, so
Okay.
she made the call.
Okay, and about how long was it between the time she hung up with the payphone and called this number?
Approximately 4 minutes after the initial call was over and ended, she would have made that call.
Okay, and do you know who that phone number belonged to?
I do.
And who is that?
It was her friend Bree. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Warwind.
Okay, and at that time, was Bree her roommate?
She was.
Okay, and how long did she talk to Bree?
Approximately 2.25 minutes.
Okay, and if you don't mind, write out here who that phone number belonged to. Now, tell me about the next phone call. Is that incoming or outgoing?
The next phone call is at 2:29 a.m., so approximately 45 minutes after that last call, and it is an outgoing call.
Okay, and who is it going to?
It is going to the payphone.
And if you don't mind, just write on the side, pay or payphone. Okay, and how about the next phone call after that?
The next one is approximately 30 seconds after that. It is an not even a full 10 seconds, a couple seconds, like an attempted call. And that is to the payphone also.
Okay, and if you don't mind, indicate that here. And how about the next phone call?
Similar time frame, a quarter of a minute attempted it'd be to the payphone also.
Okay. If you don't mind indicating on the record. If you don't mind, tell this jury about the next phone call that was made.
Similar nature, outgoing call to the payphone and similar time frame, tenths of a second, a second, just like trying to make the phone call.
Okay, if you don't mind, indicate up here. How about the next phone call?
Similar, outgoing, that one occurred at 2:43 a.m., also to the payphone.
Okay. Indicate on the records, please. Okay, tell this jury about the next phone call.
Similar, outgoing, within a minute, about a minute from this last call, and it is an outgoing call to the payphone.
Okay, if you don't mind, indicate that on the record. How about the next phone call?
It is an outgoing call. It's approximately about 6 minutes after the last call, and also to the payphone.
Okay, if you don't mind, indicate that. And this payphone number is again that number that you never seen on her records before 12/18.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And tell me about the next phone call.
The next phone call, about 10 minutes after the last call, and it is an outgoing call to the payphone, and very short duration, an attempt.
So she calls that payphone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Is that correct?
I think there's one more, so 9 times.
Okay. So she calls the payphone 9 times. Is there anything on the duration to indicate whether or not she actually spoke to anybody?
Very short in time.
Okay. And would that indicate to you that a conversation did happen or did not happen?
Did not happen.
Okay. Now, after she calls the payphone 9 times, what number does she call? Tell us. First.
Okay, the next one after that 9th call is to 843-385-3175.
Okay, and what time is it that she calls that number?
That is 3:16 a.m. on 12/18/2013.
Okay, and tell this jury whose number that belongs to.
That number comes back to Sidney Moorer,
Okay.
the defendant.
Can you place that on these records so we can keep track? And how long was that phone call?
Also, similar time frame to the other ones, an attempt.
Okay, so 0.13, so 13 seconds?
Not even that much, 13 tenths of a second, or tenth of a minute, so like maybe 6 seconds.
Okay. And tell me about the next phone call she makes.
The next one is an outgoing phone call at 3:17 a.m. to 843-385-3175, which is Sidney Moore's phone, and that one lasts for over 4 minutes.
Okay. Okay, so she talks to Sidney Moore's phone for at least 4 minutes.
Over 4 minutes, yes.
Okay, over 4 minutes. And then what time, and that's at what time?
3:17 a.m.
Okay, so she probably gets off that phone call around what time? 3:20?
It'd be over about 3:22.
Okay, and what is the next time of the next phone call?
3:38 a.m.
Okay, and tell this jury who she was calling then.
On that time, it is an outgoing call to Sidney Moore's phone.
Okay. Can you indicate that on the records? When's the next phone call?
20 seconds after that,
Okay, and who's she calling?
Sidney Moore's phone.
Okay, if you don't mind, could you put that on the record? Tell this jury who's the next phone call.
Sidney Moore's phone.
Okay, and what time is that?
46 seconds after, which is 3:39 and 46 seconds.
And this is AM.
A.m.,
Okay.
yes.
Can you indicate that? And does she make any more phone calls?
There's one last call.
And who is it to?
That one is at 3:41 a.m. outgoing to Sidney Moore's phone.
Okay, can you indicate that on the records? Now, are these the end of her phone records?
Yeah, they are.
Okay. And were there any other calls made from this phone after 3:41 on 12/18?
This phone has never produced any more records.
So it never made another phone call?
It did not.
Okay. If you don't mind, just hang right there. If you don't mind, tell this jury what all these are.
That is, I believe, approximately starting in July 2013, going all the way till the last record, which is December 18th, 2013 at 3:41 a.m. These are her records, her phone records, her complete phone records, which these were requested approximately a month after
Okay. So these phone records go from July to December?
They do.
And these represent all the phone calls she was making and receiving until 12/18?
On that phone, yes.
Okay. Now, the question I have is, the first person that called her that night, did you ever, through your investigation, find out who that was?
Sidney Moore.
Okay. And what phone number did he call from?
He called from the payphone, 843-444-2462.
Okay. But he had a cell phone, is that correct?
It is correct.
Okay. And that cell phone had this phone number?
The 843-385-3175 number is Sidney's phone.
Okay. And that phone was actually used to talk on that night, is that correct?
It was.
Okay. So there's nothing to show it was in a...
Objection, Your Honor.
But
It's legal.
sustain, rephrase your question.
Was that phone in use that night, 385, the defendant's phone?
It was.
And how do you know that?
Because we also did search warrants on his phone.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. How did you find out that he made this payphone call?
Through an interview with him, which was done on the 20th.
Okay. And tell this jury what he told you.
He had told me initially that I asked him about phone calls, and he indicated there was a phone call from Heather around 1 and 2 in the morning, or sorry, a little later, 2, 3 in the morning. But she had called him, and I asked her if he had called her at all, and he indicated no, he had not. I asked him, was there any payphone calls he had made to her, and he indicated there was not. I made a question, do they still have payphones? And I indicated to him that we were working on getting video from the 10th Ave payphone, and he then admitted that he had used that payphone that night and contacted her.
Okay. So he's the one that made this payphone call to her for 5 minutes, approximately 5 minutes on 135.
He did.
Okay. And this is the number, the same payphone, is that correct, that she's trying to call back?
It is the same number, yes.
Okay. So how many times did she call Sidney that night?
Well, she attempted 9 times with the payphone, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Okay.
15 times.
And how many total calls, incoming and outcoming, are there?
There's 17 total. Well, 17 including the payphone to her and the call to Bree.
Okay. So 16 out of 17 calls that she made were trying to get in touch with the defendant?
Yes.
Okay. And that was after that original payphone call?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see one call to anybody else that night after she got off the phone with Bree?
After Bree, no, there were no additional calls.
Okay. And do you know if Bree was in town this night?
I believe she was up north, Philadelphia or New York or something.
Okay. And did you know from these phone calls, who else did she talk to that night other than her roommate that was out of town and this defendant?
No one.
Okay.
Objection to the form of the question, Your Honor.
Abstain.
Is this all the phone calls from 12:18 early morning hours?
They are.
Have a seat, Mr. Martin, I got a couple more questions. What date did you talk to Sidney Moorer?
It was the 20th of December, 2013.
Okay. And after that, did you have any more conversations with him?
I don't believe I ever interviewed or talked to him again.
Okay. And did that basically end your portion or your assistance in this investigation?
I continued doing phone records and searches through phones and computer type stuff, but I did not include myself in the rest of the investigation.
Okay. And about what date did you stop working on this case and start working on your other cases?
There were still cases coming in that whole time, so we most of us continued on in other cases.
Okay. No further questions for this witness.
Very well examined.
Officer, you have, may I move this real quick? Sure. I think we covered this in my objection, but your testimony is that, as far as you can tell from these records, that Heather didn't talk to anybody else through that phone and that phone number after 3:41 a.m.
Yes,
Correct?
sir. Yes, sir.
You don't know if she talked to anybody else in person.
No, I do not.
You don't know if she talked to anybody else on another phone.
I do not.
Okay. The last, I'm sorry, I put this all together again. The last call that Heather's phone made to the payphone,
It's a
would you agree, what time was that one? The 3:04?
The last time she made a call to the payphone?
Yep.
Was 3:05 a.m.
3:05.
Yes,
3:05,
it's the one.
55.
It's the one that doesn't have a pay
Okay.
next to it.
Now, the next one is 3:16, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that is a call to Sidney's phone.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And give me, the best you can, the difference between the 3:05:55 call and 3:16:35, the time difference.
It's 10 minutes and 40 seconds.
Okay. So there's a 10-minute and 40-second gap between her phone calling a payphone and her phone calling Sidney's phone number, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, other than that being her phone, what evidence do you have that she was using the phone at that time?
Past the brief phone call, we do not have any.
Okay. So that's solely based upon the fact that it's coming from her number, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, we know at 1:35, he called from a payphone, right?
Yes,
Her
sir.
number.
Yes, sir.
So we're assuming there was some conversation there.
There was
Based on
approximately
timing.
about 4 minutes, yes.
Okay. When we get down in between where the phone calls are no longer going to the payphone number, but they're going to Sidney's number, there's that 10-minute gap, and just, I'm not going to beat up a dead horse, but you don't know who's got her phone at that point.
No.
Okay. You don't know who she's with or if she's with anybody during this time period?
No. If you go off his statement, though, she talked to her on that phone at some point at 3 o'clock.
You mean Bree?
No. Heather talked to Sidney on that
Right,
phone.
right. No,
Yes.
that's right. That's
Yes.
right, at some point later. But you don't know whether she was alone, is what I'm saying.
No.
Okay. Do you even know if the time she's making these calls, if she is driving her own vehicle?
No.
Do you know if she's a passenger in her own vehicle?
I do not.
Do you even know if she's driving in another vehicle at that time?
I do not.
Do you know whether or not her car is already at the landing or not at the landing at that point these calls are made?
The earlier calls, I believe the officer drove through there at some point and didn't see the vehicle. And then the vehicle was later seen at 4 o'clock, which is after her phone moves,
Right.
moves to that area.
Which is the phone, not her.
True.
Okay. Now, in the interview that you did, that you mentioned on 12/20 with Sidney, this was an old-fashioned, not car cam in the street, this was a sit-down in the station interview that was recorded, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who else was with you that's in law enforcement in this case, in that interview?
During the interview, Detective Jeffrey Cobble was
Okay.
in that interview.
And let me back up one sec. Who is the lead investigator in this case, if there is one?
It was Detective Jeffrey Cobble.
Okay. At the time this was going on, it was Jeffrey Cobble.
From the start, it was his investigation, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when Sidney came down voluntarily, I might add, to give a statement, correct?
Yes, sir.
Showed up on his own volition.
Yes, sir.
Okay. His wife Tammy was there as well, correct?
I was not there during that time frame.
You never saw her that night?
I didn't see her, no. I was not there at the police department when he showed up, and I had left prior to him actually leaving.
So did you take part in the statement that we just talked about?
Yes.
Well, how did you not see him?
I saw him during the interview. I didn't see him arrive, and I didn't see him leave.
Okay. What I'm saying is, on the same date, at the same time, there's an interview in here where you got Tammy Moore and Sidney Moore in at the same time talking.
That was not me.
Okay. With court's indulgence, John.
Sir.
Did you and Detective Cobble split up the interview duties that night with the Moores?
Like I said, I was not there during their interviews. I know they had both come in from what I had been told, but I was not part of their interviews.
When you say there, who do you mean?
You just said Sidney and Tammy.
Right.
Yes, I was not part of any interviews
You
that
were
they
not
did
part
together.
of the interview with Sidney nor Tammy?
Together.
Okay.
I was a part of
You
Sidney's.
interviewed Sidney?
Yes.
Yes, sir. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
I did an interview with Sidney and Jeff Cobble. That was the interview that I completed.
Okay. Can I just ask you to look at this briefly and just tell me if you can identify if that refreshes your memory at all that night?
Your Honor, can I just get a glance at what he showed?
I'm sorry, Judge.
Have a mark showing something, if you like the deposition as soon as the transcript.
I don't know, transcript of some kind, I'm assuming,
Transcript of the recorded
of
investigator.
John Martin's interview.
Let's,
Fair enough.
I'm sorry, Judge. All right, I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna keep this quick. At 12:20, Sidney Moore came and you did an interview with him, correct?
I did not do the initial interview with Sidney. I had showed up after and talked to him with Detective Jeff Cobble. At around 12:20, I was at her residence down River
Okay.
Road, Bright River Road, I believe.
Do you know how many, and you said 12:20 is the only time you talked to him, never talked to him again after that?
No, at 12:20, I did not interview him. I didn't interview him probably till almost 2 o'clock.
No, I mean December 20th time range.
12:20, yes.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
12:20.
sorry, that's
Yes,
my fault.
That's fine.
All right, so you interviewed him together with Jeff Cobble, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it was recorded, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you know whether he was interviewed subsequently without you?
Without me, I do not believe so.
Do you know whether Sidney and Tammy were interviewed together?
I believe they have been. I wasn't there during that.
Okay,
though.
do you know who was there? Who would have done that?
I believe it was one of the other detectives.
Such as?
I believe it was Detective Al March.
Who's no longer employed with Horry County?
He is not.
All right. In one of the two interviews of Sidney Moorer you were involved with, do you recall him explaining to you why he called Tammy?
Why he called Tammy?
I'm sorry, Heather.
Okay.
If I may, I just have an objection as to a self-serving statement.
Okay, well, just don't make your arguments, just ask the questions.
When you interviewed him, correct?
Yes, sir.
When he told you he made the payphone call,
Yes, sir.
after you told him we know you made a payphone call, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you continue to ask questions after that?
We did.
Did you ask him why and what was going on?
We did.
Did he give you an explanation?
He did identify that he had called because
My objection is just that it's self-serving.
This is cross-examination. I thank you, overruled.
Okay, I'm
What
sorry.
explanation did he give you for making the
He
payphone
said
call?
that he was trying to reach her to tell her to stop harassing him.
Okay. And did he mention further issues about notes being left on his car?
He did mention something along the lines that she had placed some notes on his vehicle.
And did he mention in this interview with you about that potentially causing trouble with his wife?
He did.
Okay. Did he mention to you in there about the fact that
Your Honor,
having any contact?
if I can, I think I need to make this argument outside the presence of the jury.
Okay, you may do so. Ladies and gentlemen, let you go to your jury room. Do not continue deliberations or discussion. Okay, happy to hear.
Your Honor, my understanding is that the reason I get to examine him on the defendant's statement is because it's against a party opponent.
No, ma'am.
Not-
He voluntarily, there was no challenge to that. Thank you.
Right, and I think he consented to that
Yeah.
during the pretrial motions. But my understanding of the rule is, and I could be wrong, my understanding is a defendant cannot put a recorded statement in of his own statement because it's self-serving.
Well, I appreciate that, but you've asked him questions about his statements, and you've challenged the statement, and you've indicated that his statement was contradictory, it was all of those things. So he's entitled to ask questions about that, specifically from this person. You can play it, and the jury can make their own determination. But from the standpoint of him, allowing him to cross-examine, he's allowed. If you didn't put anything about the statement in, I'd agree with you wholeheartedly. But you put in portions of the statement which are incriminating. Therefore, he's entitled to give the full picture. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I just wanted-
I understand it. I overrule your objection. I'm finished. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. All right. Let's take about a 15-minute break since the jury, they need a break anyway. Let me see y'all too concerning this hearing. Got a problem now. Another.